From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. This is Dateline Malacañang. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. is scheduled to attend a couple of engagements on Tuesday following his arrival from Vatican on Monday. The President on Tuesday morning will attend the 46th commencement exercises of the Philippine National Police Academy or PNPA Sinaglawin class of 2025 at the Brigadier General Cicero Campos Field, Camp General Mariano Castañeda, Municipality of Silang in the province of Cavite. This year's theme is Kapulisan na may malasakit at integridad, sandigan ng kaayusan ng sambayanan. 24-year-old police cadet Mark Joseph Lacatan Vito from Gloria, Oriental Mindoro Province, topped this year's list of graduates. Meanwhile, President Marcos will be at the Rizal Park Monument and Malacañang Palace in the city of Manila later in the afternoon to receive Prime Minister Ishiba Shigeru and Mrs. Yoshiko Ishiba of Japan as the Japanese Prime Minister starts his official visit to the country. The chief executive and Ishiba are set to hold discussions on security and maritime law enforcement cooperation, including global trade issues. Japanese Ambassador to the Philippines, Kazuya Endo, earlier said that this summit will reaffirm Manila and Tokyo's commitment to a partnership anchored on peace and prosperity. Ishiba, who assumed the position in September, marks his first bilateral visit to the Philippines. Endo said the two leaders will discuss the Japan-Philippines Reciprocal Access Agreement, transfer of air surveillance radar systems, and the official security assistance extended by Japan to the Philippines.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang on Monday gave updates on the deadly car ramming incident during a Filipino street festival in Vancouver, Canada that killed and injured several people celebrating Lapu-Lapu Day. In a Palace Press briefing, Presidential Communications Office or PCO Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said 11 have died, including a 5-year-old child. According to the Vancouver Police Department or VPD, Castro said, the suspect, 30-year-old Kaiji Adam Law, has been arrested and is facing murder charges. Castro said President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s directives was to provide all the necessary assistance to those affected by the tragedy. The Palace Press Officer also said the Philippine Consulate General in Vancouver has established communication with several injured victims but did not specify if any Filipino was involved in the incident. In a statement Sunday, the President expressed deep sorrow over the deadly incident and has extended the Philippine government's deepest sympathies to the families of the victims and to the strong and thriving Filipino community in Canada.
Sa ngayon po, ang lumalabas po as of April 27, 2025, Vancouver Police Department stated in the press briefing na 11 po ang nasawi at may mga ilan po na nasugatan. Ang pinakabata po daw na nabiktima ay 5 taon at ang pinaka may edad ay 65 years old. At ang suspect po na si Mr. Kai Jim Adam Lo, 30 years old, ay na-identify na po at ngayon ay humaharap sa murder charges in connection with this, the deaths at the Lapu-Lapu Festival. At ang Philippine Consulate General po in Vancouver ay nagpadala na po, nag-issue na po ng maagarang advisory. Pinapaalam po ang mga hotlines, kung makikita po sa ating monitor. Nagbigay po ng hotlines para po sa mga biktima po, yung pamilya po ng mga biktima ay maaari po agad maka-connect or maka-contact po sa ating Philippine Consulate General. At ang consulate po natin ay nakapag-establish na rin po ng kanilang komunikasyon sa ilang mga biktima na nasugatan. At nakikipag-coordinate pa rin po ang Philippine Consulate General with the Vancouver Police Department regarding sa mga information pa po ng iba pong biktima at sa mga updates po ng pag-iimbestiga.
Pero ano po ang talagang bilin ng Pangulo is because sa statement niya kagabi, he's very affected with what happened.
Opo, dahil po ito'y kapwa Pilipino, minadali po agad na matulungan, ibigay po ang lahat na maaaring maitulong, lahat ng koneksyon para sa mga Pilipino po natin na nadamay po dito sa trahedya po sa Vancouver.
That was Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, Malacañang on Monday refuted claims that China has seized control over Sandy Cay, a sandbar located around 3.7 kilometers off the province of Palawan. In a Palace Press briefing, Presidential Communications Office, or PCO Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said, National Security Council, or NSC Assistant Director General Jonathan Malaya, reported that the Interagency Maritime Operation, or IAMO, asserted its sovereignty over Pag-asa Case 1, 2, 3, and its surrounding waters on Sunday. During the operation, the teams observed the illegal presence of China Coast Guard 5102 approximately 1,000 yards east of K2, as well as 7 Chinese maritime militia vessels near K2 and K3. Castro said the public should expect President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s administration's dedication to fight for the country's sovereign rights, territory, and maritime rights in the West Philippine Sea.
Po, nakausap po natin si DG Jonathan Malaya at inalam po natin ang katotohanan dyan. Ayon po sa kanya, ito lamang, kahapon lamang po, ang Interagency Maritime Operation po nagsagawa po ng pagbisita. Ang routine and lawful exercise dito po sa maritime domain natin. At dito po sa Pag-asa K1, K2, and K3 at sa mga surrounding waters. Kompleto po nilang naisagawa ito at pinasisinungalingan po nila na ito po ay na-seize ng China. Ayon po kay DG Jonathan Malaya. At asahan po natin ang wala pong alinlangang dedikasyon ng Pangulong Marcos na ipaglaban ang ating karapatan sa ating teritoryo, sa ating maritime rights, lalo-lalo na po dito sa West Philippine Sea. At wala pong tuloy-tuloy pa rin po ang pagprotekta sa lahat ng karapatan ng bansa na naaayon sa international law, pero may paniniguro na ito ay para sa peace and stability.
That was Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang on Monday said the Philippine government will implement strict guidelines and monitoring in the entry of digital nomads into the country to ensure that it does not result in the same issues that arose from the Philippine Offshore Gaming Operator or POGO operations. This follows the issuance of Executive Order or EO number 86 by President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. allowing the grant of Philippine visa for digital nomads or foreign nationals seeking to temporarily reside and work remotely in the Philippines. In a press briefing, Presidential Communications Office or PCO Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said the move will boost the country's economy and tourism. The palace official assured the public that safeguards would be in place to address concerns that could arise from the initiative, including the possible influx of foreign nationals involved in criminal activities. President Marcos ordered a total ban on pogos last year due to their links to crimes such as human trafficking, prostitution, and murder. Castro also said that the government is currently drafting guidelines for the visa program, which will provide more details about the process. Under the EO, the Department of Foreign Affairs is authorized to issue digital nomad visas to non-immigrant foreigners who desire to enter and or stay in the country for a temporary period for the purpose of working remotely using digital technologies and whose clients or employers are situated outside the Philippines.
Definitely, if we will have more tourists, we will definitely have more income. And it will definitely also benefit the country and also the Filipino people. At ngayon ay isinasagawa po ang guidelines para po maisapatupad po itong digital nomad visa. At siguro po meron na rin po kayong kopya ng Executive Order number 86 para po makita po ninyo kung ano po yung mga guidelines na nakalagay po dyan. We will be having monitoring, unlike with the POGOs before. We will be securing definitely the processes regarding this. There will always be security features in order to protect our country from any scammers or any violations of the law.
That was Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Also on Monday, Malacañang vowed to expand the government's anti-poverty and hunger initiatives in response to a recent survey showing a rise in the number of Filipino families who consider themselves poor. According to the latest Strat-based Social Weather Station or SWS survey, 55% of Filipino families or 15.5 million families rated themselves as poor in April, a slight increase from 14.4 million families in March. In a press briefing, Presidential Communications Office or PCO Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro acknowledged the survey's findings and emphasized that the administration of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. takes such reports seriously. She quoted National Economic and Development Authority or NEDA Secretary Arsenio Balisacan that poverty is a dynamic issue, particularly in self-rated poverty surveys, which are often sensitive to inflation and fluctuations in the prices of essential goods. In light of these rising poverty rates, the palace official assured the public that the government is committed to expanding its social welfare programs to address hunger and poverty. Among the programs that will be expanded are the 20 peso per kilogram rice initiative, the Department of Social Welfare and Development or DSWD's No Hunger program, the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program, and the school-based feeding program. Castro reiterated that these efforts are part of the administration's broader goal to alleviate poverty and improve the welfare of Filipinos, ensuring that the government's programs reach those in need.
Lahat po naman ng lehitimong survey ay kinikilala at kinukonsidera ng pamahalaang Marcos. At aking lamang pong i-quote ang sinabi po ni Secretary Balisacan. We understand the poverty incidence can be dynamic. In particular, Self-rated poverty surveys are sensitive to inflation, particularly the price level of commodities commonly consumed, say food, transportation, etc., prevailing at the time of the survey versus what it was in the recent past. Dahil po dito, dahil mahalaga po ang kapakanan ng taong bayan kay Pangulong Marcos, papaluwigin pa po ang mga programa para matugunan po ang mga isyu patungkol po sa kahirapan at kagutuman. Yan po ang talagang ninanais at pinapalawig pa po ang programa para ito po ay matugunan. Kabilang na po nga rito ang 20 pesos kada kilo na bigas. Nandiyan pa rin po ang programang Walang Gutom program ng DSWD. Idagdag pa po natin ang patuloy patungkol dito sa Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program at isama na rin po natin ang school-based feeding program. Ilan lamang po ito sa mga programa ng Pangulong Marcos para po maibsan ang anumang kahirapan na nadadanas ng taong bayan. Although sinasabi po natin na ang poverty incidence, according to Secretary Balisacan, ay dynamic po.
That was Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Still on Monday, Malacañang announced that 2 South Korean nationals wanted by international authorities for involvement in multi-million-dollar investment scams were arrested in Parañaque City last week. In a Palace Press briefing, Presidential Communications Office, or PCO Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said, Bureau of Immigration or BI Commissioner Joel Anthony Viado identified the two as 58-year-old Kim Young Sam and 59-year-old Won Chol Yong. They were arrested inside Kim's residence in BF Homes Village on April 22nd. Kim, according to Viado, will be deported immediately as he was already ordered expelled by the BI Board of Commissioners in December of 2021 for being an undesirable alien, and the subject of a red notice issued by the International Criminal Police Organization or Interpol in 2018. Authorities alleged that as manager of a Seoul-based company, Kim and his accomplices engaged in fraudulent operations by soliciting investments for the development of a cryptocurrency business that has victimized 253 individuals. As for Won, the initial investigation revealed that he is an overstaying alien and a fugitive wanted in South Korea, also for investment fraud. Both suspects will remain at the BI custodial facility inside Camp Bagong Diwa, Taguig City until their deportation.
Tumugon agad ang Bureau of Immigration para arestuhin ang 2 Korean national na wanted sa Interpol sa kanilang pagkakasangkot sa multi-million-dollar investment scams. Kinikilala ang dalawa na sina Kim Young Sam at Wen Jol Yong. Dahil na rin sa direktiba ng ating Pangulo, mabilis na umaksyon, nahuli sa isang operasyon ng mga otoridad sa Parañaque itong mga taong ito noong April 2022. Kasalukuyan nananatili sa BI custodial facility sa Camp Bagong Diwa habang inihahanda ang deportation proceedings.
That was Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, the Philippines and New Zealand are set to sign an agreement that would enable close military coordination between the two nations. In a news release on Monday, New Zealand Defense Minister Judith Collins said she is traveling to the Philippines to sign the Status of Visiting Forces Agreement. This is a treaty-level document that includes military cooperation conditions, such as legal responsibilities and obligations on both sides. Collins said the agreement follows a commitment made by Prime Minister Christopher Locson and Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during Mr. Locson's visit to Manila last year. The agreement will undergo a final ratification process in the Philippine Senate. It builds on two previous agreements that provide for practical defense cooperation, the Mutual Logistics Supporting Arrangement in 2024 and the Defense Cooperation Arrangement in 2012. During her official visit to Manila from April 28th to May 2nd, Collins will meet with the President and hold a bilateral meeting with Department of National Defense Secretary Gilberto Chodoro Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
And that concludes today's edition of Dateline Malacañang. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.